thank you for honoring our invitation at such short notice. This press encounter has become very necessary due to recent developments in our economy, which has seen very little attention because the opposition, especially the minority in parliament, who are supposed to raise these issues, have become quiet accomplices, whilst the people of this country are being dragged through one of the most painful eras in the history of this country. ASEPA, as a civil society organization that stands for social equality and public accountability, have been very worried by such developments and wants to seize this opportunity to point out a few things to Ghanaians, so Ghanaians themselves can wake up and fight for themselves if the opposition have chosen not to fight for them. Last week, the finance minister presented a 2023 budget statement to Parliament. And even before he did, there were several complaints all over the place about how part of people's investments are being taken away by financial institutions. This press briefing will therefore take a critical look at 4 items. 1, the illegal deduction on people's investments. 2, the 2.5 increment in VAT and how contradictory and dangerous it is against government's own monetary policy. The so-called debt exchange program announced in the 2023 budget, and the imminent crisis in the power sector due to government's policy inconsistencies. Now let's start with the first one, the illegal deduction from people's investment by financial institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start on this issue, kindly let's take a minute and watch this news item from Joy News.
This afternoon, if your investment with a financial institution has seen a drop, we have news for you. Since Ghana's economic crisis started, there have been concerns about reducing investment values. From EcoBank to DataBank, customers have taken to Twitter with complaint about drops in their investment values. We'll show you that briefly, but first, here's one affected.
I was at DataBank yesterday to withdraw my M-Fund investment. Now they are telling me that according to Securities and Exchanges Commission or whatever, they have re-evaluated the money I deposited, which is 10,000. And so the 10,000 plus the interest was about 10,600 and something. Now, per the re-evaluation, they are going to give me 8,600. This is so unfair. I have told them that all I need is my money. I don't need the interest. I need 10,000 flats. They cannot convince me with any explanation that they are not going to give me my money. I brought 10,000, I needed 10,000. You cannot reevaluate to even, for the reevaluation to take more than the interest that I'm getting on it. I don't need it. I need my money. DataBank at Abraka branch, that is where I invest. That is what they are telling me. There were some customers there also frustrated. They are telling me that if I want to withdraw it now, that is the policy and there is no way they will give me the money. This is so unfair and I'm going to push it. I need my money. If they have any issues, now they are telling me they want to protect me as an investor. What kind of protection? When things are hard and I need my money to spend on urgent things, you are telling me that you are protecting me, so you are taking part of my money? That's about 20%. I won't accept it. I need my money and they cannot convince me. Please investigate this because that will never be fair to customers. I saw police cars parked there because I know they know what they are doing. That's why they sent the police to come and protect them. I need my money. I need my 10,000 cedis. I don't want any reduction.
That Due to worsened market conditions in Ghana, people who have invested in the fixed assets and other investment products who wants to redeem their investments will do so at current market rates. And because market conditions have fallen, they risk losing part of not only their interest, but possibly part of their principal as well. So I've attached copies of such notices from EcoBank. EcoBank says, dear unit holder, over the last few months, Ghana's economy experienced high inflation, which has been on a sustained upward trajectory. The rising inflation and the subsequent increase in Bank of Ghana policy rate have resulted in a rising interest rate environment. The local currency have also suffered a high level of depreciation. This has resulted in the value of existing bonds declining. This means the value of government and non-government bonds held in EDC fixed income fund have declined. However, this decline is realized only when the bond and other assets are sold. On the contrary, the full value of the bond is realized when they are held to maturity, blah, blah, blah. So that is from EcoBank. You see another one from Stanbic Bank. You see another one from Data Bank, as depicted in the video. Ladies and gentlemen, I have subsequently sent, ladies and gentlemen, I have friends also reached out to me on how their investment have also seen major deductions. For example, one friend of mine, for instance, requested for his investment. He was told that at the current market rate, if he redeemed that investment, he could lose up to 4,500 on his investment. With no choice and a serious need for the funds or for money, he decided to proceed to redeem his investment and place in a request. It took 2 weeks for the banks to process the request. When his account was credited, he had lost not 4,500 but almost 8,000 of his money eaten into his principal. When he confronted his banks, he was told that the market conditions had worsened since he placed in his request, and that from the time he placed in the request, the rate has changed, and now he has to lose 8,000 cedis through no fault of his, but the bank's inability to process his redemption on time. I have sent this Joy News item and related documents to my friends at the IMF, the World Bank, and the European Union. And they all tell me that this is not only ridiculous, but illegal and unprecedented in the history of bond trading. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I want to use this opportunity through you to tell the Ghanaian people that what is happening is notoriously illegal under Ghanaian and international financial rules. The Bank of Ghana is the only institution that has been given the powers under the Bank of Ghana Act to set monetary policies, including the policy rate. The Bank of Ghana currently sets the policy rate at 24.5%. The policy rate, for those who don't understand what it is the interbank lending rate, the rate at which the central bank lends to the other banks or the banks lend among themselves. This policy rate also depicts the lowest ROI, which is return on investment on any lending or investment in Ghana. So if SEC says that the market conditions have fallen, investment companies should do benchmarking at the current rate. The benchmarking must be done according to the current policy rate of 24.5% set by the central bank. So if the funds cannot pay all the interest, then they can only shave it down to the lowest rate, which is 24.5%. It is imperative to note that this investment is also a lending to the banks. It comes in the form of various investment products with specific interests agreed by both the bank, who is the seller, and the customer, who is the buyer, before the investment product is purchased. In effect, this is a contract. The banks come to you to tell you that if you give us X amount of money for this period, we will pay you an interest of Y. This constitutes a contract. The bank cannot one day get up and unilaterally vary the terms of this contract without any negotiations. Even if it was implementing a haircut is not a unilateral activity. According to international best practices, a haircut arises only as a result of negotiations. This is pure thievery, and before I proceed on this one, let me demonstrate to you why this is pure thievery. Let's take a critical look at what a bond is and what the characteristics of a bond is. The characteristics of a bond. The government or company borrows money from the public through the issuance of bonds called fixed income instruments. Because they come with fixed interest rate or coupon rate, the bond has the following characteristics: issuance price, which indicates how much the bond is sold; face value, this indicates how much the bond will be worth at maturity; coupon rate, it is the interest rate the issuer or the bank or the government has agreed to pay at maturity; coupon date is the date the issuer agreed to make interest payment. 5. Maturity date is when the bond matures and the issuer pays the bond face value. Now, the bond market moves inversely. When interest rate goes up, the price of the bond goes up, and the existing bondholders enjoy what we call premium. The bond will be trading at a premium because the face value of the bond was less when the investor bought it, and now the price has jumped or appreciated due to interest rate hikes by the central bank. If the policy rate of the central bank jumps high, then the bondholders must enjoy premium in their bond holding. The market conditions may not be attractive for new investments in bonds, but very advantageous to existing bondholders. In simple terms, a bond is an IOU. The institutions borrow the monies from the public at an agreed interest rate. When policy rates upwards adjustment rather increases the value of their bond and not the other way around. So all I'm saying is that if the current policy rate have jumped from about 19% since the last issuance to 24.5%, people with fixed income securities should rather see their investment appreciate and not depreciate. For example, if the banks collected these monies and just bought dollars and kept it, at the beginning of the year, the dollar was trading at less than 7 cedis. And now the value of the dollar is about 14 cedis. So if the banks collected our money and bought dollars and kept the dollars, by now the money that they invested have more than doubled. So how come now they come back to the customers and say you have lost money because market conditions have fallen, and so you are losing not just your interest but also part of your principal? Again, the banks also invested in other viable markets like the US capital market, where the banks went to also invest there, have all seen an appreciation in bond values. And so if they go and liquidate these investments, they will be making gains and not losses. And so the stories that we are being told, that because some market conditions, which nobody knows what they are, have fallen, people's investment must see a shave of their interest and even eating into their capital, is sheer thievery. According to international best practices and rules, the customers today should be seeing an upwards adjustment in the value of their bonds. Now, bond prices are good for existing bondholders. Bond prices are only bad for new entrants, for new issuers. The people who are now going to buy bonds are now going to suffer because they are going to buy it at higher interest rates. But those who already have bonds, those who have already invested in these fixed income securities, should see a value, an increment in their value. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately for you, your finance minister, who through the central bank that set the policy rate, can intervene and sanction the financial institutions who are illegally stealing people's money, is also conflicted because he is directly benefiting from this stealing from the Ghanaian people, as his company Data Bank is also engaged in this illegal deduction of people's investment, as seen in the news item we just played. And now, to ensure that nobody sues this government or future government cannot take any action on these cruel deductions of people's money, I've received a hint that the finance minister will be introducing a bill to parliament soon to formalize these deductions, to take retrospective effect, and to forever protect these fraudsters. And so you could see that one of the reasons why Ken Ofori-Atta doesn't want to leave office and still want to lead the IMF negotiations is so that he can carve the eminent debt restructuring in such a way that the fund managers, including his data bank, do not lose, but all the losses are transferred onto the Ghanaian people who have entrusted their money in our economy. So the only reason, or one of the reasons why Ken Ofori-Atta doesn't want to leave, is that he wants to carve the eminent debt restructuring, which is going to happen as part of the IMF negotiations, in such a way that they can offload all the risks, all the losses of their mismanagement onto the Ghanaian people. So that fund managers like his data bank can profit from the sweat and blood of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to use this opportunity to send a strong warning to Parliament, especially the minority in Parliament, that the soul of the people of this country is in their hands. People's sweat and blood is at stake, and they should not try any games this time around. Until then, we want to encourage anybody whose money has been deducted to take steps to initiate civil action against their bank. We are also compiling a list of victims to initiate a class action. Any victim who wants to be part of this class action can contact us and be part of this class action. We need to sue these fund managers, financial houses, and banks so we can realize the full value of people's investments. Victims of different financial institutions like EcoBank can come together and we can bring a class action for EcoBank customers only. Victims of Data Bank can also come together and bring a class action against Data Bank. Other banks like Stanbic and others, we can also do same against these banks. There is absolutely no way that the Bank of Ghana should set the policy rate at 24.5%. And people would lose not only part of their interest, but also part of their principal. It can never happen anywhere in the world. In any case, it is now that government is seeking approval from Parliament through the 2023 budget statement, yet to be approved, to implement a debt restructuring program. How come that even before a formal restructuring commences, we are seeing these illegal deductions from people's savings and investments? What is happening cannot be classified as a haircut. I repeat, what is happening in the economy is not a haircut. What is happening is sheer thievery.